The Mount Sinai Adolescent Health Center would not be here today without Dr. Joan E. Morgenthau, its visionary founder. Please join me in welcoming two of Dr. Morgenthau's daughters, Ellie Hirschhorn and Elizabeth Hirschhorn Wilson.
Good morning. Before presenting this year's Dr. Joan E. Morgenthau Lifetime Advocate for Youth Award in honor of our mother, the Mount Sinai Adolescent Healthcare Center would like to pay tribute to Dr. Henry Burman, who played a pivotal role in the center's early days. And I do mean early days. Henry was the second member of the staff to join the center. He described his professional relationship with our mom as love at first sight. In the preface to a manuscript he wrote about her life entitled Joan E. Morgenthau, MD, Always Ahead of Her Time, he said, "I was Joan's first fellow. We met in the winter of 1970. I had completed my training in pediatrics and was halfway through my 3 years of service in the U.S. Army. A fellowship position in adolescent medicine was being offered at Mount Sinai, and I contacted Joan. It was love at first sight. Joan, not Dr. Morgenthau, from the first moment I met her, asked me about my interests in adolescent medicine. I said I was interested in all aspects of adolescence. She said, the position is yours if you want it. And that was the beginning of a beautiful friendship that spanned from 1970 until her death in 2012. Henry Burman died at the age of 79 in February 2020 in Seattle, Washington. He was the former president and CEO of Group Health Northwest, now Kaiser Permanente. Previously, he worked at Children's Hospital in Seattle in adolescent medicine, and he served on a number of boards, including the American Board of Preventative Medicine, the American Board of Medical Management, and the Alliance of Community Health Plans. He was the founder and chair of the Association of Washington Healthcare Plans. Henry was also actively engaged in youth suicide prevention as a board member and president of the Washington Youth Suicide Prevention Program. In addition to the 6-chapter unpublished manuscript about our mother, Henry wrote 4 books on medical issues for the general audience. His most recent, Teens and Their Doctors, recounts the history of adolescent medicine through the words of its founders. We'd like to take a moment to remember and appreciate Dr. Henry Burman for his early contributions to the Mount Sinai Adolescent Health Center and his continued support of the center long after he left New York.
Good morning. We are honored to be here today, and my sister Joan is seated with a broken foot, otherwise she'd be up here with us, alongside this year's legends and our truly resilient youth speakers. As many of you know, our mother, Dr. Joan Morgenthau, founded the Mount Sinai Adolescent Center 55 years ago in 1968. At that time, adolescent medicine was still a relatively new discipline, but our mother, even then, recognized that adolescents and young adults needed a healthcare space dedicated to their care, a space where they could access services confidentially at no cost to them and ultimately grow into the healthiest versions of themselves. What began as a tiny operation in a low cinder block building, and then I remember Dr. Berman interviewed our mother and I reluctantly became their IT scribini, but I'm so glad I did because I have 18 hours of amazing recordings. There was a trailer that came across the George Washington Bridge that was the second home of the Adolescent Health Center, I believe on 101st between 5th and Madison, where she routinely would have her car jacked up and all the tires ripped off. So I remember that as a child. But it began as a cinder block building, evolved into this trailer home, and today has grown into the Mount Sinai Adolescent Health Center as we know it today, where 12,000 youth ages 10 to 26 access care each year, still confidentially and still at no cost. The annual Dr. Joan E. Morgenthau Lifetime Advocate for Youth Award was created to honor our mother and those who have followed in her footsteps by making a real and lasting difference in the lives of young people. Today, we are proud to honor our mother's memory by presenting this year's Dr. Joan E. Morgenthau Lifetime Advocate for Youth Award to the most deserving Dr. Keith J. Benkov. Dr. Benkov has Dr. Benkov has been a dedicated member of the Mount Sinai community for many decades. He is a professor of pediatrics at the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai and was the division chief of pediatric gastroenterology, as well as the fellowship program director for many years. His main focus is inflammatory bowel disease, and he's been active in patient care, research, and patient advocacy. Countless patients, especially adolescents, value Dr. Benkov as a trusted physician who has guided them in their journey involving chronic illness. He is a warm, caring clinician who represents their ideal in fostering trusting relationships with his patients and their families. He is deeply valued by those under his care. He's been involved with the Adolescent Health Center since he was an intern in 1979, and today provides gastroenterology consults to patients at the center pro bono. His dedication to young people's health does not end with his professional work, however. As many of you know, Dr. Benkov is an avid runner. He's finished an impressive 32 New York City marathons and started Team IBD Kids to raise money for research and family-centered comprehensive care for children with inflammatory bowel disease. In honor of his tremendous dedication to New York City's youth and decades of work at the Mount Sinai Adolescent Health Center, we are pleased to present Dr. Keith Benkov with the Dr. Joan E. Morgenthau Lifetime Advocate for Youth Award.
Good morning. Elsie, Elizabeth, thank you so much for this tremendous honor and to be among everyone today, and especially in your mother's name, who I met as an intern when she was the most impressive and dynamic and impactful leader of the Adolescent Center. It was a real privilege. I'd like to also congratulate the other honorees, Robert Accadino, who I've actually known since he was a teenager, as well as Elsie and Bill Thompson, but especially the two staff honoree teams, engineering and registration. The Mount Sinai Adolescent Health Center is really one big team that makes such a huge difference in the lives of so many adolescents and young adults as we're seeing today. For me, being part of that team for so many years is a true privilege and enough of an honor on its own without this formal award. I have attended many of these breakfasts in the past and have enjoyed celebrating all of their accomplishments and seeing all these remarkable young people. They're truly inspiring, and I still hope that one day I might be as articulate and poised as they are. I will be honest and disclose that the main reason I accepted this award is to support and in turn honor my dear friend Angela Diaz and her lifelong work for the center. I first met Angela, as we said, in the summer of 1981 when I was a resident, and she was both a new intern and a new mother of Gabrielle, who was only 2 months old at the time. I was in awe of how she balanced everything then, and I've only continued to be in awe of her, of what she's accomplished professionally, as well as the fact that she even ran her first marathon at 56. I'm very thankful for my relationship with you, Angela. I'm also very thankful for the support that I've gotten from many colleagues, friends, and family. For better or worse, I've always had a tendency to be very consumed with work, and if not for my family, friends, and colleagues, I don't think I would have managed. Here today at the breakfast, I'm very lucky to have colleagues who are like friends, close friends who are like family, and family who I have not adequate words for. My two children, Carly and Jordan, have their own preschoolers who constantly remind me of why I went into pediatrics in the first place. And last, there's my wife, Judy, who I met when we were teenagers working in summer camp and is now a happily retired lawyer. She's been with me every stride of the marathon, and I would not be here without her. One last thank you for everyone here today, and please continue to support the Adolescent Health Center at Mount Sinai in every way that you can. Thank you very much.